Good evening, everyone. You are watching the Just Keep Up podcast, where we're one step ahead. I'm Kurt Johnson. This is Pete Zindro. So we're excited to be back to you guys here on this casual Wednesday. We have a great show planned for you guys tonight. We have a lot to talk about, lots to get into. Big show. No featured story tonight, guys. Although there is something big that has happened. I can't say it on this channel, so go check it out on at Kurt's Philosophy right after you watch this. But I do have a featured story, but I just can't talk about it on here, or else uh, YouTube will continue to penalize this channel. But definitely go check it out if you're interested in the featured story for tonight. But what we are going to talk about, since it's Casual Wednesday, is perception and how important is your perception in 2025. So we're going to talk about how important is it that other people see you in a certain light. That's going to be crucial, especially in 2025 and this year specifically. And we're going to talk about the tools that you need to keep your perception up and keep your perception of value. Or, some people call it a high value male, some people call it high value woman, whatever you want to call it. But I just look at it as a very stoic person and a respectable person in society. You want to keep that perception up. We're going to go through how you guys can do that, even if you don't necessarily feel, up to par that day or up to the standard that day. You still want other people to know that you are capable and you want your perception to stay intact. So we're going to talk about that, not to wear your emotions on your sleeve, all that type of stuff. So if you guys are a little emotional, if you guys are a little carried away with, if you wear your emotions on your sleeve, etc., like this is going to be your show. Before we get into it, I'm going to remind you to smash the follow button here on Rumble to get a push notification every time we post. In addition to that, guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, guys, like and subscribe. Help us to impact and to reach as many people as possible. And guys, like I said in the beginning, check me out, guys, at Kurt's Philosophy if you're interested in the world's deepest, darkest secrets. And I think that's all I got, bro. Do you have anything before we start the show?
Yeah, if any of you guys are interested in some of my personal life shorts where, I troll, show you guys my personal life, just stuff like that, follow me on YouTube at Pete's YouTube Shorts.
Yep, definitely, guys, go check them out. But yeah, guys, with that being said, we're gonna start the show. So I'm gonna turn it over to you first, bro. So the question is, in what way can people improve their perception? So, in other words, how people perceive them, how do they keep that up, even if they're not necessarily feeling up to par?
The answer for men, at least, is aura, okay? And let me explain why. The reason why aura is important in life is because if it's just the way the world is. If you have aura, people naturally disrespect you more. Now, what is aura and what can you do to necessarily gain it or up your aura, for example? Okay. Well, you could start by being the best possible version of yourself, which includes, being in shape, being healthy, knowing how to dress, knowing how to speak, right? Having your bag up, because money does matter in this world. It's all these things combined, okay? So over time, when you guys work on yourselves, your aura will naturally progress more and more. Also, one other thing I want to mention about aura is if you have aura, there's a certain fear that people have around you. Okay. And if people have some type of fear about you, you're bound to get your way easier, even if you're wrong in the situation. Okay. Even if you're wrong, you're bound to get your way because there's fear in there. So if there's no fear, you automatically don't have aura. Okay. Fear is like the most important factor. Now, everything else that I just mentioned, right? Like, like your looks, your fitness, your money, the way you talk, the way you dress, all those things add on to it. But fear is ultimately at the top. Now, let me give you guys some examples of people who had aura, right? Donald Trump, he has aura, for example, right? Whatever he usually wants, he gets. I can give you guys a perfect example. Before he even got into office, he stopped the war between Ukraine and Russia, right? When Joe Biden, who doesn't have aura, was cucking down to them, giving them billions of dollars, right? and he's still instigating the war to this day, right? Donald Trump is an example. Mustache Man is another example. We see the way people talk about him even to this day, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
he's extremely feared,
Oh
right?
yeah.
He's extremely feared.
Oh,
Like anything he wanted, he was simply getting, and that was aura. That was aura. Okay. There's another example. Now, to athlete terms, who's an athlete that has aura? Tom Brady, for example, right? His organization respected him. They got him what he wanted because he had aura, right? Okay. So these are kind of just some this is basically what aura is, right? So all the people I just mentioned, they always got their way for one simple reason. They had aura, okay? They naturally had that pull. So that is why in life it is important to have aura. Now, guys, I'm not necessarily saying I have aura or anything like that. I just try to be the best version of myself, as all of you should be as well. But the best version of yourselves should be aura. I'm gonna be honest, because if it isn't, not that you're fucked in life, but you're always gonna be one step behind those who do have aura. Like think about it. If I'm at a job interview, right, and my skill level and resume is on par with another dude, right? What do you think it's gonna come down to if everything is equal? They're not gonna tell you this, but it's gonna come down to aura, okay? They're not gonna tell you that, but that's just a simple reality. So yeah, biggest perception of life for men is aura. Now, for women, what is the biggest perception? I would honestly say the way they dress and the way they talk. It's not as hard as it is for men, really. Like just don't look like a horse, don't sound like a horse either. Just be a respectable, kind, charming woman, and you'll be perceived in a very good way.
all right. Yeah. So I agree with most of that. So um here I'm gonna frame it in a cartoonish way, but this is the best way that I'm gonna get guys and girls, men and women, whatever you want to be called, cat, dog, to understand what we're saying. Okay. Let's bring it back. Let's talk about superheroes for a second. We all loved superheroes growing up. Who's the greatest superhero of all time? Well, this isn't my opinion. If you look it up on Google, it will tell you. And the answer is Batman. Batman is the greatest superhero of all time because Superman is known to be the strongest and the fastest, apparently, and all of these things. How did it get beat by Batman? How did it get beat by Batman? It's very, very simple. Batman, right? He used his intelligence first and foremost, right? Secondly, he was very observant, right? So he was able to read the room. He was able to, feed on everyone's weakness and turn it around against them, right? So in life, same as Batman versus all the superheroes or the supervillains, you're going to be at a disadvantage. You're not going to have all the things that other people have. So what sets you apart? You have to do your homework, right? You have to pay attention. You have to be aware of your surroundings, right? And then that will give you the leg up over anyone, right? Batman is my favorite superhero all time, and the reason why he is because of that. He is at a major disadvantage over everyone that he goes against all of the time because he is human. But what separates him is his intelligence, his ability to use his brain, and his ability to take what goes on around him and take people's weaknesses and use it against him, for his will, to bend the invisible forces of nature onto his will, right? So if you look at Batman, Pete used the word fear, and I 100% agree with that. But it's not a fear in you're scared, but it's a fear of respectability, right? And so not only does the evil fear Batman, but the good feared Batman, right? The good wanted Batman to go to jail. The good wanted Batman to turn himself in, right? So there's an old saying where a guy goes, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy, right? And so that's what you want to be, and that's what Batman is. So he's the prime example. So if anyone wants to know how to improve your perception, look at it like Batman, where he took his parents dying, he took that weakness and he built it into a strength, right? And he uses it by instilling fear in people. How does he instill fear in people? He takes your weakness and he uses it against you, right? And so that's what you have to do. Now, when we talk about uh when we talk about having aura, what is that? Right? What is having aura? Let me ask you another question. Who do you think has more aura? Superman with a smile on his face all the time, or Batman who comes in with this deep voice and you could barely see his face and it's the shadow and he's gone? Obviously, Batman has way more aura than Superman. I'm pretty sure we can all kind of agree to that. Superman is like just this like nerdy guy, but he's strong and stuff, and but Batman is like that's aura, right? And so, but you have to ask yourself, what is that? What is it? It's just you, Batman, doing a couple things. It's one, right? Again, being aware of your surroundings. That's the number one thing. You need to be aware of your surroundings at all time. Be aware of the exit signs. Be aware who's walking into the room. Be aware, who's having conversations around you. Don't have your ear pods in all the time like not a smart person, right? And you have your headphones in and you're just listening to your music and you're in your own bubble and you're in your own world. That's no aura at all. That's stupidity, right? You don't know what's going on around you at all. Matter of fact, if you're watching this and you have ear pods, throw it in the trash unless you're going to the gym. Other than that, you don't need to be listening to nothing, right? You need to be listening to the things going on around you, right? And so how do you know if danger is happening? How do you know how do you know a conversation, if you listen to it, that could make you smarter or make you better? You don't, because you're too busy being a lame, right? So you want to focus on that, right? The next thing, right, is you want to remember to talk fast and efficiently, right? As we know, Superman yaps, Wonder Woman yaps, Flash definitely yaps, right? Like they all yap. Who doesn't yap? Batman doesn't yap, right? He kind of sticks straight to the point, right? So he's like, listen, um, we're gonna do this and that's it, right? So what does Batman do? He only speaks when spoken to. So that's what you want to do. You only want to speak when spoken to. You don't want to go on a yap session, because this brings down your aura 1000 when you're just constantly yapping, 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 running your mouth when no one cares, right? If people only respect things that aren't there all the time, right? People respect scarcity. People respect things that are rare, right? And if you're yapping all the time, guess what? Now what you're saying goes down and down and down and down, and then no one cares what you got to say because you're always yapping. But if you only talk when things are important or when things need to get done, people are going to listen to you, right? And so that's the next thing. That's another reason why Batman has aura, and that's another thing that we can take from him, right? Another thing is, and this is the last thing I'll say, is before I turn it back over to you, and then we could just kind of go back and forth, is do not do not smile or do not laugh when it is not needed. A bunch of people think because it's awkward or there's awkward silence or whatever, that they should just laugh or they should just smile or whatever the case may be. Don't do it. You look like a doofus, okay? Don't sit there and, because it got awkward and stuff, just be like, oh, huh. Like think about that. Like, do I have aura if I look like this, guys? You let me know. No aura, bro. No, they're like, oh, bro, this guy looks like man, Susan really needs to let us use that word, man. Um, but yeah, so you don't want to do that, guys. You want to be completely stoic, okay? And you want to, harness in your emotions, relax, take a deep breath, and really think about what you're going to do before you do it, right? And so all these things are going to help you to help people's perception of you, right? So even if you really want to yap about something, don't do it, right? Even if you really want to, listen to your music or listen to your earpods or whatever the case may be, don't do it. Be aware of your surroundings, right? Do your homework, do your research, right? Things like this. All these things are going to help how people perceive you. Imagine, and I'll give you one last example, and then I'll turn over to you. Imagine me and Pete, right? Imagine we go to the same job and we work the same job. And I come in every day 7 a.m. with my coffee and I'm happy and I talk everyone's ear off and I'm all happy and jittery all the time and I'm speaking 1,000 times a day and laughing and stuff, right? And then Pete comes in every single day, doesn't say nothing to nobody, only speaks when spoken to. But when he talks, people listen, right? If something bad were to happen or something bad were to go on, who would they respect more, right? They would respect what Pete has to say more rather than me, who thinks everything is a game and is joking all the time, right? And so that's another thing where all these things are going to help with your aura, but ultimately it's going to help how people perceive you in reality.
Yeah, those were good examples. So more examples I could give you guys, for example, is who has more aura, Tom Brady or CJ Stroud? Okay. Now, we all know the answer is Tom Brady. And it's not because he's better at football. It's simply because he pursues himself better than Stroud does, okay? Like Tom Brady, he's always serious about winning. He's screaming at people all the time, and they listen because he has aura. Now, CJ Stroud, he's crying on the field. You really think if he were to give like a speech or something, his teammates would sit there and take him seriously? Like, bro,
Hell no.
that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Nobody would respect them, okay? Another example I could give you guys, if any of you guys are Marvel fans out there, Deadpool and Wolverine, for example. Wolverine is the serious guy who's always on his shit, doesn't really talk much. And then you have Deadpool, the freaking clown who's freaking joking every 2 seconds and not taking anything seriously. And I like both of these characters. Okay? But Wolverine mocks the shit out of him when it comes to aura. Deadpool's aura is negative. He's a funny guy, but funny isn't aura. And I'm not saying if you're funny, you can't have aura, but don't make that like the main trait of your personality. Like be funny when needed, but ultimately be serious, when you need to get shit done. Don't talk too much. Like you just gotta know, bro. This is why sometimes when it's certain people, you could just tell they have aura because they just know like when it's time. Like it's something that's not really explainable a lot of times. Okay. So yeah, but ultimately just be on your shit, be serious, only speak when needed, make jokes when needed. It's all of these things combined, along with everything else that I spoke on, which is also like your looks, the way you talk, the way you dress, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Pete's 100% correct. Like, obviously, CJ Stroud doesn't have the respect of anyone, right? Like, especially, when you cry in front of thousands of people on national television, you lose a lot of respect and dignity and morals and standards and everything, right? And so that's obviously never a good thing to do, right? Like I said, you always want the best example, guys. And again, I hate to keep reiterating this point, but the best example is Batman. That's the best example because he is human. He doesn't have any superpowers at all. How is he hanging around? How is he competing with Superman? What the fuck? How is he even competing with him? Right? He mastered stoicism. He mastered it. He literally has mastered stoicism, right? And so if you look at bro, do you remember when Batman laid out the contingency plans for all of the superheroes? And
Mm-hmm.
then they're like, "What's the contingency plan for you, Batman?" And he simply goes, "The Justice League." And it's like, "Bro, what?" So what he's saying is there is no contingency plan for me, bro. I'm too good. And I'm like, "Dude, that's insane, bro." And like that's what your mindset, that's where our mindsets need to be at all times, bro, where it's like we're just on our shit, we're on our grind, we're doing everything that we need to do, and we're not playing around, right? Like so many people think the successful guy is the guy that like is a yes man. No, the successful guy is the man that says no. The successful guy is the man that says he's too busy to stay at work. He needs to go home because he needs to do things. He's busy. That's the guy that gets the raise. The guy that gets the raise, the guy that gets the promotion is the guy that's too busy for the job, not the guy that cleans up after everyone and helps everyone. That's the nice guy. That's the guy that it's like, yeah, whatever, like whatever, give him a 50-cent raise. But who are they going to respect? Who are they going to put the suit on? Who are they going to put in charge? They're going to put that guy in charge. They're going to put the guy that leaves early and is on his shit in charge. They're going to make that guy the leader, right? Not some dude that's like just clocking in and out on time and shit, right?
Right. Even when it comes to girls, for example, right? What do you think a girl is going to respect more? You think they're going to respect a guy who has other priorities besides her? Or are they going to respect a guy who's calling out of work just to chill with them? Think about it. They're not going to respect the guy who's calling out of work. They're going to respect the guy who has other priorities because they're not putting her first. They're showing that they have other priorities in life. That's why a lot of times in life, you see girls dubbing nice guys for assholes who treat them like shit a lot. Okay. And that's simply because they don't put them first and they have aura because of that.
Yeah, it's because it's the traits that it takes to be that way. And like I said, that is a stoic trait, right? Because the if you ask Batman what he really wants to do, yeah, sure, he'd hang out with them, he'd do this, he'd do that. But in reality, that's going to hurt his leadership abilities. That's going to hurt how people perceive him. And so he doesn't do it. And so that's mastering stoicism, is not doing things because you know it's going to hurt your look, not doing things because you know it's going to hurt your value, even if you really want to do it, right? So Batman has mastered stoicism, and that's what we all need to do. We need to master stoicism. Carl Jung is one of the greatest psychologists of all time. You guys know, if you're watching from Kurt's Philosophy, you know I love Carl Jung. Carl Jung says, your perception is your reality. How people perceive you is who you are, because it's the energy that you're giving off, right? And so if I, like, let's say, like, how people say, yeah, like, don't judge a book by its cover. You absolutely judge a book by its cover, right? Because you got to look at it. If that's what you're showing me, right? If that's what you're showing me, that's who you are deep rooted, right? That's who you are deep rooted, right? So it's like we can't all turn it on and off whenever we want. We're not God, right? People say, don't judge a book by its cover, like I'm more than what I'm showing. Really? Really? I don't think you're that much different from what you're showing, right? So people think that they could just turn it on and off whenever they want. And yeah, I'm going to be serious. I'm not going to be serious. Or you see this all the time where, guys, but girls too, a lot of times they say, don't judge me off my social media. I'm not really like that, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you are. Yes, you are like that, right? You do judge a book by its cover, because if you're showing me that, we don't have the ability to turn it off and on like that, right? And so that's why people respect the bad boy. That's why people respect the Batmans of the world, because what you're seeing is what you're getting, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% true. Honestly, bro, the best word I could describe somebody respectable who has aura is probably nonchalant, to be honest. Like, nonchalant people are basically everything we describe, you know? They only speak when necessary, do certain things when necessary. And I mean, Batman is nonchalant himself. So, I mean, yeah, nonchalant is like the perfect word to go off of, to be honest.
Yeah, because their ideas are elsewhere. They're completely not even worried about what anyone has to say. They really don't give a shit. They
Mm-hmm.
don't care, right? And I remember one last thing talking about Batman and Superman. It's funny when when they were arguing, kind of the Justice League was kind of arguing about uh going over helping Darkseid, right? And then Batman's like, yeah, we gotta help Darkseid, blah blah blah. And then Superman's like, we're not helping Darkseid, blah blah blah. And then Batman's like, I know he used you, he abused you, he threw you around, he made you bleed, and he's like, get over it. And I'm like, bro, like that always plays into my head, where I want to use my emotions to be like, no, I'm not gonna help that clown. You know what that clown did to me? Or I'm not gonna, be nice to that person, or I'm not gonna do this. That person did this to me. And then I remember that voice in my head that Batman's just like, get over it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I should probably just get over it, right? So, you know, is if you got to use example. You have to use like Carl Jung says. He says we go off of archetypes. So he says in your brain you're going off of an archetype, right? I'm gonna try to not be so esoteric, my bad guys, but he says we all go off of archetypes. So we have this archetype in our head from what we want to be, from a woman, from a man, right? We all have different archetypes, and we have to get the right one in our head and then try to be like that, right? So if you say, well, Curtis, I don't have an archetype, well, you actually do. You actually do. Because it maybe isn't just one person, right? It could be five people. So that's even worse. You've got demons, bro. Like if you don't say, yeah, I look up to Batman or I look up to, Trump or Andrew Tate, what you're saying is if you say you don't look up to someone, what you're saying is you look up to everyone. So it's I look up to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and this and that, this and that. And then that's where you get lost, bro. That's where you get lost. So you have to, Carl Jung says this, you have to have an archetype in your head. You do have one in your head. Uh, and I think the best one to use is Batman, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Batman's a good one to go off of for sure. I mean, I don't necessarily go off him, but there are a few guys that I go off of, like, like some athletes that I like. Andrew Tate's another good one that I use. You know, just nonchalant people that know how to speak and know when to speak and are right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you don't want to do too much. You don't want to do too little, but you just want to do your job, and you want to constantly learn, bro. Like, that's another thing that lastly that I want to talk about is you want to constantly be learning, bro. Like, you know, a lot of times people are really low IQ. Like I could say this on YouTube, but you can't say it on TikTok. It's ridiculous. But people are very low IQ and they just don't get it. And it's like, how can you be that low IQ that people think because I go to college, I'm smart. That doesn't make you smart. If anything, that makes you a robot, a slave of what the system wants you to learn. You do realize that. Because what you're doing is you're learning from controlled opposition. That's what you're learning from. Your master is saying, here's a page, read this page. And you're going back to the people and saying, I'm smart, I'm smart. Dude, I'm studying the people that are giving you the books. I'm studying the people that are giving you the knowledge. I'm studying them. Why would you study a little piece of paper that they're giving you? I'm studying the elites, bro. I'm studying Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, Plato, Aristotle, Pythagoras, right? These are the people that built society. Why are you gonna wave a paper in my face and say, look, I'm smart, I went to college? Give me a break, bro. I'm studying the people that invented college, right? So that's another thing. You need to make sure that you're also learning and not learning from college. No, you're doing your own research and you're studying the greats that came before you, right? People are saying, yeah, uh, I'm smarter than you because this guy's clearly like one guy on TikTok. He said, yeah, this guy's clearly never went to college in one of my videos. And it's like, dude, what do you learn in college? You learn the fucking Pythagorean theorem, bro. I'm studying Pythagoras. Like, like you know what I mean? It's like, bro, like what are you talking about? Like, just because you go to school, that doesn't mean that you're knowledgeable, bro. You're just spoon fed what they want you to learn. You have to actually go out and do your own research. Do you think Batman gets his information from the news? Do you think he's watching News 8? Like, okay, he could be like, no, he's doing his own research, bro. So you have to do your own research.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair argument, don't go so much off of what other people are teaching you. Bro, there's a reason why in life there's a term called school smart, okay? And you want to know who they use the term school smart on? People who actually have degrees but are stupid when it comes to common sense. That is why the term school smart exists. Just because you have a degree does not mean you are smart in life. Okay. You learned a few words that were on the paper at the back of your head. Oh my God, congrats. You're Albert Einstein. Like you're a straight genius, bro. Like, no, that's not the way that it works. Okay. I can tell you myself, I didn't go to college, okay? I didn't go to college, and I'm not saying this to be cocky or nothing, but I think I'm smarter than a lot of motherfuckers who got degrees out there, okay? Like, I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just honestly being real, okay? Like the amount of shit that I've honestly learned in life compared to somebody with a degree, it's like night and day if you really want me to be honest with you, okay? Like, like I just went to school for 1 semester to learn a trade. But honestly, bro, I'm not done there, bro. I'm not done there. I'm still gonna try to explore more options of making money because the system, in case you guys ever realize, the system is just corrupt, okay? A normal job is not gonna get you a normal living, okay? You have to think outside the box, right? You gotta think business wise. You have to think just anything, bro. Something you could do on the side, like, bro, anything, bro. Don't just think that just because like you have a paper or a degree from school that you're gonna be like comfortable in life because you're not. You're not. The system is corrupt for a reason. And those who are smarter than others are the ones that are going to be the most successful. Like, look at Andrew Tate, for example. Andrew Tate has all this money. Do you think he made all that money off getting a degree in college? I don't even think he has a degree. Does he? Does he have a degree? Yes or no?
No.
Literally, this guy has over $20 million. He said it himself. He doesn't even have a college degree. How do you think he made all this money? Clearly, his mind. His mind is what made him this money. Okay. So, in order to become rich, you got to have brains.
Yeah, you do. And I think this will be a good way to end the show here. But I think the best thing that you can do whenever you want to study or whenever you want to find out what you need to do to succeed in life, figure out what the rich people are doing. And you figure out what are they doing? Oh, they're all Satan worshipers. Oh, they're all Moloch worshipers. Oh, they're all satanic frauds. Like, and it's like you realize how hard you work. You're not gonna benefit from that, unfortunately. And as a matter of fact, the American system actually penalizes you for working harder, right? Once you make $90,000 or more a year, you don't get taxes back. You actually have to pay taxes. So it's like, wait a minute. I thought I worked harder so I would get more money back at the end of the year. No, no, no. You've worked harder. You've been a good slave, so now you give us more money. Can you imagine that? Like, think about how the government is even ran, bro. Like, they're like, we are gonna pay you to work for us, and then we're gonna take 35% of that money back in taxes every single week. And then at the end of the year, if you slave for us too much, we're going to request money from you back. Think about how ridiculous that is. That doesn't make any sense at all, ever. And that's what you see today. And it's like insane how the American system is ran. And it just makes no sense and is designed for you to fail. So, with that being said, you have to figure out what the elites are doing. And if you don't want to be a Satan worshiper and if you don't want to be anything like that, your next best bet is to operate how they do, right? And what do I mean by this, right? Aleister Crowley, right? I'm not gonna go into everything he says. I'll talk about it on Kurt's philosophy because Pete knows I yap to him about it all the time about the shit that Aleister Crowley has done. If you guys don't know him, look him up. He's a satanic bastard. Not gonna lie, he's crazy. But Crowley, he says, I don't do anything. I'm not gonna get too esoteric, but I'm just gonna say, he says, Crowley says, I don't do anything without looking at the date first, right? So he blatantly says this, right? And the date has significance because they're number, signs, and symbols. So if these guys are operating out of number, signs, and symbols, you don't have to use it to be satanic but you can use it to help you navigate in this material world. What do I mean by this? We all have a life path number, guys. We all have numbers. We all have dates that in which we perform good. We all have dates in which we perform sluggish and we're not ourselves. Using those dates to your advantage will help you navigate in the real world right now, and it will help you to have more what? Aura. It will help you how others to perceive you better. Imagine if you found out that uh every day or every month on the fifth day you sucked at everything. You were just completely terrible. Imagine if you knew that. On the fifth, you would request that you don't work on the fifth, right? So that way you go in on the sixth and you feel better and it doesn't mess up your aura, right? And so things like this, navigating with those tools will help you to become better and to help your perception to stay up, right?
Yeah. But as Kurt was talking about earlier, guys, about how the government taxes us for working harder, right? You guys have to realize the reason why this happens is because the government is a business, okay? They look at the world as a business. They want as many people working as possible because the more people equals the more money. Hmm. Isn't that kind of smart the way they think? This is how it's supposed to be done, guys, okay? You gotta work smarter, not harder. The government isn't doing jack shit to make any money, right? But because they get an extra person working, they pull in extra income. See, that's working smarter, not harder, right there. Another example, I could give, right? I was just in Mexico last week, so I thought of a great example. I pray to God that the Mexican cartels did not get me, but Mexican cartels are a thing, guys. Okay, if you guys don't know what a Mexican cartel is, it's basically a business down in Mexico where it's about 5 to 6 dudes in a pickup truck. They run the streets down there, right? They run the streets. And if you're on their blocking, they do not like you. They will pull you over, pull out a bunch of guns, and tell you, give us everything you have right now, or else we're shooting you, right? So, one way or another, they're going to get their freaking money. So, if you get stopped by them, it's best to just give them your money. Now, is it right that they did it? No. But who the hell is stopping them? Think about it. Who's stopping them? There's been multiple U.S. presidents who have actually tried to do something about these cartels, but Mexico simply doesn't want to do anything about it because it's a business. Not even the police does anything about them. Like they literally run the streets down there. So having aura also comes with power. Like, isn't this stuff crazy, bro? Like, see what aura can freaking do for you guys?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, guys. So, but yeah, bro, I think because we could yap forever, bro. So I think I'll end the show here, guys. So yeah, we went over how perception is reality, and we went over a lot of examples that you guys can use and take away. So it was a great show. We gave you guys some sauce here, man. We went over ways to improve your perception or how people perceive you to be. We went over how Batman's a really good example. We used a lot of other examples like Donald Trump, etc. We went over, having aura, being aware of your surroundings, talking fast and efficient. Don't speak unless you're spoken to, making money, smile and laugh only when it's needed, not always, right? So learning that your attention is scarce, right? So only put your attention in things that you're going to benefit 100% from, right? Don't spend hours talking to a chick, right? Spend those same hours reading a book, right? That way, when you're talking to a girl for 10 seconds, you have way more intellectual things to say than if you were yapping about Kai Sanat on TikTok. Like it's not going to change anything, right? Because he's a low IQ individual, very low IQ. So but yeah, guys, that's it. I kind of want to end the show there. I am going to remind you to smash the follow button here on Rumble to get a push notification every time we post. If you're watching us on YouTube, guys, I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Help us to impact and to reach as many people as possible. And again, guys, follow me at Kurt's Philosophy on YouTube and Rumble to discover the world's deepest, darkest secrets. And guys, I was going to do a show tonight. This one went a little longer, so I will just probably maybe do a show tomorrow when I'm away. I'll probably do a show then. We got a lot to talk about with regarding the wars. Those ended, at least uh, supposedly ended. So we're gonna talk about that and the mysteries behind that. So it's gonna be a great show. So get in there, guys. And then we'll talk to you guys again on Friday. We're gonna go through the playoff games, and we're gonna talk about our predictions for the weekend on YouTube, and then on Rumble we're going to be discussing some lovely ladies that had some very poor choices in the past and even recently. I'm just gonna throw it out there, the number 1,000, and I think that's all I will uh, say because I don't want to leak too much. But bro, I'll turn it over to you if you have any last thoughts.
Nah, nah, I don't got nothing. Just get ready for some heat, especially on Rumble on Friday. And then as far as YouTube goes, yeah, we're just gonna give our predictions for the upcoming NFL playoff games this weekend, as we did last week.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you guys again on Friday. All right,
Mm-hmm.
guys. Peace.